Calgary Flames defenseman Noah Hanifin is at the forefront of many trade rumors, and a new report has revealed 5 new trade suitors for the Flames. Welcome to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe because 90% of the people watching are not subscribed. So if a few of those people could just subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. Let's try and hit it by the end of the day. But like I said, a new report has come out that has proven that Noah Hanifin is really in the mix now. Now, just a couple days ago, it was revealed that Hanifin is the number 1 on the trade board, and I'm not talking about the Flames Digest trade board here. I am obviously going to a more credible source, and that is, of course, the esteemed NHL Insider Frank Seravalli. And a few days ago, he wrote that Calgary Flames' Noah Hanifin is the new number 1 on daily faceoffs trade targets board. Now, that was from late last week, but he has since updated and sent out a different report. A new article has come out from Seravalli himself that has shown, hey, maybe Hanifin is a lot more involved than we think, and here are some places he could go. Here are some teams that need him. But before we get into the suitors themselves, first we should look at what Hanifin could potentially go for. And Seravalli pointed out a very comparable return from just 2 seasons ago now. It is when Boston picked up Elias Lindholm. And this is a defenseman who is similar to Hanifin, can definitely play in the offensive end, can play in the defensive end. And so this was actually a pretty big trade at the deadline a couple seasons ago. So Anaheim received back a first-round pick, a second-round pick, another second-round pick, and a couple of prospects. Obviously, those prospects aren't huge names yet. Who knows if they will be? And obviously to Boston as well, there was another prospect who, again, is not necessarily a huge name yet either. But could that be what the Flames get in return for Hanifin? Obviously, it won't be exactly like that. I mean, that's a lot. A first-round pick, a couple seconds, and a couple prospects for just, in this case, Hanifin and a prospect. I don't know which prospect the Flames would be willing to cough up if it were to be like this. But regardless, it's important to look at a comparable trade just so we know what the suitors might be able to give up. So let's get into the suitors, and we'll start out east with the Eastern Conference suitors because, obviously, the Flames are a team in the West. They're going to be more willing to probably make a trade over to the East. You don't really make trades with your rivals. Usually, look what the Flames have been doing. They just love trading with Vancouver, so there goes that. But we'll look in the East anyway because Seravalli pointed out 4 big ones out East. Now, the first 2 I think are pretty realistic. So the first one's the Red Wings. Now, obviously, Wallman has played well on the left side, but the Red Wings could use a boost on D. They've got the assets to trade for Hanifin and the cap space. That's extremely true. The Red Wings, they are making a push for the playoffs. It seems like they're finally ready for the rebuild to be over. They can make a look at the playoffs. They're an interesting team because it seems like they're so cold on some nights and so hot on others. Hanifin would help them out insanely, and I think in a deal with that, the Flames would not need to retain any salary, which would be very good because like Seravalli said, they are not in cap trouble at all because they're not supreme contenders. That being said, I could see Hanifin being a guy in Detroit, obviously for this season and also for the future. Detroit's obviously closer to his home. He's made it known, just like Johnny Gaudreau did, that, playing closer to home is important. Detroit's a lot closer to Boston than Calgary is, so I could see that one happening. The next there, the New Jersey Devils. So analytically and stylistically, Hanifin is a better version of Damon Severson, who they did not re-sign. They could have re-signed him. Luke Hughes is the left shooting defenseman of their future, but Hanifin could help out a lot now. So this is more as a rental, Seravalli's pointing out. The Devils, they've obviously had talks with the Flames. The Markstrom trade didn't go through, but maybe there's still chances talks could happen with Hanifin or even Tanev. But I do agree, Hanifin could fit in New Jersey, maybe more as a rental. But again, obviously New Jersey's a lot closer to Boston than Calgary is. So I think Hanifin could not only help develop Luke Hughes, but he could play great with some of the other defensemen they have already there in New Jersey. And maybe that would help them make a push for the playoffs. Now, that being said, both teams that he pointed out here so far, Detroit and New Jersey, aren't exactly top contenders that are really looking to sell in order to contend. So just for this year, I'm saying, obviously both teams are building for their future as well. And if we compare that to the comparable return of Lindholm, I don't know how much either team can give up. I think Detroit can, but will they want to? Probably not. They're still a rebuilding team. They want their assets for the future. New Jersey can give up more picks. I think they definitely can. Cap is, again, the problem here. The Flames might have to retain, but I don't know. Those are both very good ones. Now, the next two I don't see as being realistic, but Seravalli, he obviously likes to have fun. Here are the next two teams. So the Tampa Bay Lightning. He said, we know the Bolts are on the prowl for defensemen. They don't really have the assets to acquire him, and could they even afford to re-sign him? Well, Frank, why'd you put Tampa on there then? No, it is definitely a possibility. Tampa Bay has shown that they are ready to give up anything at the deadline. Look what they did with Nashville a few years ago. They gave up pretty much every single pick they had. Would they do the same for Hanifin? I kind of doubt it, but they do need a D-man. And obviously Sergachev, terrible, terrible news. He finally made it back from injury and then instantly got hurt again and will be out. Very, very bad for him. I feel so bad for him, but he said he'll come back stronger than ever. Is Hanifin a replacement for that? Who knows? They're somewhat similar players. I mean, obviously Sergachev has more of the playoff experience and the Stanley Cups under his belt over Hanifin, but Hanifin could be a decent replacement there. The problem is, would Tampa be able to afford it? Now, the next team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Seravalli just threw that in there because Toronto gets involved with everything. And because they have Tree Living, of course, the former Flames GM. But Toronto Maple Leafs, Hanifin and Tanev in one package would make a lot of sense and solve a lot of Toronto's problems. Plus, there's a familiarity with GM Brad Tree Living. It's a lot closer to home, but still in Canada, and there is belief that Hanifin has expressed interest in playing in a U.S. market. Yes, not only has Hanifin expressed interest in playing in the U.S., but he wants to be as close to Boston as possible. I think everyone knows that. He's from there. His family's there. He'd love to be in Boston. Toronto is closer to Boston, but still in Canada, so it has the taxes issue. It has the weather issue for some, but I don't know. I think a trade with Toronto would have to be I don't think it would make sense for either side, really. That being said, today, Seravalli released another article because it's Valentine's Day. He made, some dream matchmaking for certain trades that could happen. And so the one that he proposed is, of course, Calgary and Toronto. And it is Noah Hanifin to the Leafs. Who swipes left? Just like it's Tinder. So to Toronto, they would get Hanifin, Mangiapane, and 50% retained. Now, I'm assuming that 50% retained is on just one of the players, but who knows? In this dream world, it seems like it could be both. To Calgary, the 2024 first round pick, the Islanders 2024 third round pick. The Flames would get back their fifth round pick, Ryan Reeves, Nick Robertson, and Topi Niemela. I don't know. I think Seravalli might be a little bit out to lunch on this one. I wouldn't say this is a concrete report. Obviously, this is just him saying this would be a dream scenario, but I don't know. I don't see that one being particularly true. I don't even know if that trade makes sense for either end. Do the Leafs need Mangiapane? No, they already have a bunch of players like him who don't necessarily always produce, but can. That's what the Leafs have been filled with lately, and that's arguably part of the reason why they haven't made it far into the playoffs. Now, there's obviously a million other reasons. This isn't Leafs Digest. We'll leave that to the actual Leafs Digest. Go check them out if you're a Toronto fan. But I don't know if it makes perfect sense for the Flames either. Yes, we want first-round picks. Robertson is a high prospect, I guess. He's been a bit of a disappointment so far, but is he another one of those guys who just needs a better situation? Yes. Topi Niemela, another one who probably just hasn't had the right opportunity in Toronto yet. I mean, obviously, he's still very young, but maybe he'd get to be able to thrive in Calgary. I don't know. I still think that trade isn't necessarily making the most sense. You think back to the comparable return of Hampus Lindholm, and again, nothing really compares to that trade from either Tampa or Toronto. So I don't see them being the best trade suitors. Now, obviously, Seravalli also wrote, ideally it would be Tanev and Hanifin in a package. I mean, what are the chances of that happening for Toronto? They would have to give up pretty much their entire future in order to win now. And are the Leafs ready to win now? Not too sure. Not too sure. Is this their year? I think they need goaltending over anything else. But crazier things have been done in the NHL. Crazier things have been done at the trade deadline. Now, there's still one more trade suitor that Seravalli pointed out that I do want to look at, and it is within the Pacific Division. So let's take a look inside the Pacific. Like I said earlier in the video, it's not too common that rivals make big trades. That being said, obviously, we've already made 2 trades with Vancouver this year, sending Lindholm, of course, most recently. That kind of was groundbreaking for the trade season. But I think the Flames will probably be done trading to their biggest rivals. Obviously, Vancouver's top of the Pacific right now. Edmonton's in third. But that team in second could be the one that they do make a trade to for Noah Hanifin. So here we go. The Vegas Golden Knights. This is again from Frank Seravalli. He said, yes, Shea Theodore runs the left side of Vegas's defense, but Alec Martinez is coming off the books, and a lot of his money could be allocated to Hanifin if the Golden Knights spend big again. Now, Shea Theodore has been hurt for months now. Who knows if he will be, as much of an offensive powerhouse as he has been last year when Vegas won the Cup and throughout the beginning of the season. Is Theodore still ready to be that guy? If not, Hanifin, he can run a power play as we've seen in Calgary, and he can be the replacement for that. Now, Frank Seravalli also pointed out Alec Martinez. Now, that's more thinking into the future because Martinez obviously is still going to get paid for this season. That's more thinking, does Vegas pick up Hanifin and then sign him for the future? That's more what he's going on. And I could actually see this being a reality. Vegas has proven they can win. They can go far in the playoffs. Do they need that future? No, they can win now. They've made it far into the playoffs pretty much every single year of their existence. I know it's so unfair. But Vegas could make another great run at the Cup. They've got a healthy Adin Hill again, and he's right back to how he was in the playoffs last year and earlier this season before he got hurt. If Shea Theodore gets healthy, they can be better. Having Hanifin in the mix of their D-men as well makes them look so dangerous. That would be one of the best defensive corps in the entire NHL. I mean, I still haven't even mentioned Alex Pietrangelo. He's there too. He's running their second power play unit right now. Hanifin could be that guy as well. It's very interesting. So, is Hanifin going to be the guy that makes a difference and makes them win the Cup? I laugh because this is probably the worst Photoshop I've ever done. I just colored over Keegan Kolesar's name just because he's number 55. Is Hanifin going to be the one to bring them over the top and bring them another Cup? I'm not 100% sure. But either way, the Hanifin trade rumors are nuts right now, and it is a blast thinking about it as a Flames fan. Are the Flames willing to give up Hanifin? Yes, I think that's true. We should know soon whether he's going to sign with Calgary or not. So I will obviously keep you updated. We at Flames Digest will keep you updated. Big changes coming to the channel soon, so make sure you're ready for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you're new around here, and make sure you have a wonderful rest of your day.